Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson. My name is Wes. This is Interactive English, the channel. If in case this is your first time here, I know for some of you it might be. The channel's all about trying to help you just improve your English skills because there's so many lessons that we have across our channel related to vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. And today I want to take your questions related a little bit to all of those. And I want to talk to you about improving your speaking fluency because that's a very common question that I get in the comments. People send me messages about they want to improve their speaking skills or what should they do. And it's a very broad question, which is why I think it's useful. There's many different things we can talk about because vocabulary it's related to speaking. Grammar, it's related to speaking. Pronunciation, of course, it's related to speaking. So I want to take some of your questions, anything that you are curious about or you want to know when it comes to improving your speaking fluency, and I will answer it to the best of my abilities. The first thing, though, I quickly, and I may come back to this because talking about speaking fluency, this is the last call. I'm getting ready to start another Speak Up course. It is a 10-week course that is all about trying to help you improve your speaking skills, to help you speak confidently, to help you speak clearly, and to help you speak naturally. So once a week, you have an hour lesson with me. It's a small group class. And there are weekly pronunciation video lessons. There are resource guides to help you practice on your own. There's also, you get a weekly PDF, the lesson, as well as a video preview to help you better understand what the lesson's going to be about. There's a link in the description. You can check that out. If you want to know the times of the course, just scroll down to the bottom. And throughout the class, I'll take questions here and there. If you guys do have some questions about the course, I'll throw some information in there right there as well. Oh, also, you can use the voucher code SPEAK10 to get a 10% discount as well. That's also one other thing. So I want to say hello. Thank you. Hello, Lolly. Good to see you. Welcome, Hiwa. Hello, Hadil, Angela, Jasmine, Sleepwalker, Sajad, Esther, Anastasia, Ladan. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining me. So if you have questions about improving your speaking or just trying to achieve fluency, then let me know, write them. I'll try to get through as many as I can, but sometimes if I'm not able to get to it, leave me the question in the comments once the video is posted, and I'll try to get back to that later. But it gives me ideas as to what I should talk about in future video lessons as well. So hi, Maria Teresa. Hello, good to see you. I will see you next week, next Saturday. Kareem, hello. Miguel's asking me, well, not really related to speaking fluency. That's okay. About my beard, yes. I think now, though, if you want a new word in English, for some of you, this I wouldn't really call a beard. I would say this is more stubble. So stubble is when you're kind of a little lazy like me and you just have not shaved in a few days. And that's really what this is. It's stubble. So you could say, yeah, what's up with your stubble? You need a shave. So that's a new word in case some of you have not heard of it. Then that's good. Maybe, hopefully you learned something new. Let's see. He will ask, how do I know if I'm fluent or not? Because sometimes I feel like I am, and sometimes I feel like my English sucks. Okay, that is a good question, and it's I would also say it's subjective. And I know that that's not probably the best answer you might want to hear. And when I say subjective, it really depends on you as the individual. Of course, there are tests out there that people will take to kind of evaluate their English proficiency, like the IELTS or the TOEFL. But even with those, they're really specific to university to say that's the goal of those tests. Is somebody capable of studying at the university level in English. That's the purpose of those tests. As to whether you are fluent, I feel that that would really depend on, where you feel like you're at with your goals. And I know it's probably something that for most people like me, I always, even with English, I always feel like I can be a little bit better, that I can learn some new words, that I can fine tune my grammar. So in that case, you might not ever feel like, oh, I'm perfectly fluent, because to be honest, I have seen people that say like that they are fluent, or they say, yes, I'm fluent in this language and this other language. And I maybe because I can speak Spanish. I'm comfortable with my level. I don't know if I would say that I'm fluent, but I've heard people speak Spanish and it's probably not as good as mine, yet they're very confident, like, yes, I am fluent in this language, even though I might disagree with that. And I've heard other people, especially many learners in English, say, like, no, I'm not fluent, and I would disagree. But I think in general, just to give you some like metrics, I'd say that if you are comfortable having just a natural, free flowing conversation, that's one thing that I would say that, okay, that is a good thing for fluency, that you might be fluent. If you feel comfortable talking about a variety of topics, and even if you don't know stuff about this topic, you can ask questions and you can understand what somebody's telling you. That would be another thing about fluency. If you can just have your conversation and you're not always stopping to think of a word or having many awkward pauses, I would say that also is a mark of fluency. So I think there are certain things that you could go by, and maybe that'd be a good idea for a future lesson. I could kind of create like a fluency checklist and kind of go down. But again, even as I would be giving this to you, it would still be a bit subjective based on my experience teaching English, studying the language, learning about teaching learners the language. But that's a good idea. That's a great question. Maria so you're looking forward to the class? Me too. Excellent. I am also looking forward to it. Let's see. We have some other questions. What is the spelling of stubble? Vivek asked. Ladan, yes, that is the correct spelling. Thank you for the assist. Nice stubble. Thank you, Saj. We're supposed to talk about fluency. We're just talking about my stubble. That's okay. Afsan, what is the most effective way to learn new words? Books, movies, or books? And as far as learning new vocabulary, that is going to vary by person because all of us are different learners. Some people are, kinesthetic learners. It helps them to move around and they're more involved in what they're doing. Other people are visual learners and you really need to see what's happening. I don't think there would be one way of like, this is the best way to learn. If you're just comparing movies and books, I'll give you my opinion. I would say books would be better for building your vocabulary because it is more of a reflective process. And what I mean by that is that if you're listening to me speak right now, so all of you are practicing your listening skills. 5 minutes from now, you're not going to remember every single word that I've said or what I've been talking about in this lesson. But if it's a book, you have the ability to go back and try to put things in context if it's a word that you don't understand. You can do that in listening, but it just goes really fast. So if you're talking about a movie and you're just listening to it, you might hear a new word, but if you're trying to follow and keep up with the story, then you may forget about it. Or if you focus too much on it, then maybe you're not going to be listening to everything else that's being said. So what I would say, in my opinion, I think reading is probably better than watching a movie or TV show, but you could also use subtitles. I think that helps quite a bit. Also, you hear the pronunciation while you're reading. That's also very useful. So I'm a big advocate of reading because not just you're able to learn new words, reflect on it, but you're also seeing the correct grammar. And you're learning these other small things that I think can confuse learners. For example, prepositions. people may use the wrong preposition, or maybe they put the preposition in the wrong place. But when you're reading, you just see that. Even though you're not studying it, you're taking that information in. And then the next time you're in a conversation, you're speaking, you're more likely to use the correct preposition or use the correct grammar. And then that's when it's like, oh, I'm just going to do what feels right. Let's see. To be fluent on my bucket list, said Shahrazad. Excellent. Awesome. It's always good. It's always good to have a bucket list. And if you guys don't know what a bucket list, it's just the list of things that you want to do, things you hope to accomplish before you die. That is an idiom in English. Edar asks, how can I improve my English with newsletters? Yeah, I think there are so many different ways that you can improve it. If newsletters, I think that's useful because you're probably reading about, or if you're listening to it, a variety of different topics. You're getting a lot of different exposure. So I think you can do that. The only thing I would say when it comes to reading, or if you're looking for movies or TV shows, definitely do something that interests you. Because if you're not interested in the story, whether you're reading it or listening to it, you're less likely to continue with it. You're not going to have the motivation. And then if you stop, that's not what you want at all. So definitely just find something that interests you. Salva says, hello, how are you? Thank you, Pooja. Thank you. I appreciate it. Natasha, my question is, why do I usually avoid using vocab I've recently learned? And use vocab? I think that's perfectly normal. That when you learn a new word, you might not feel that has to do with confidence. That you don't feel confident that you're going to use it correctly. Maybe it gives you a little anxiety to try to use those words. And that's why I think it's very important to be comfortable in the environment that you're in, comfortable with the person you're speaking to, comfortable in the place that you're in, so that you can try to kind of explore a little more with the vocabulary. And if you make a mistake, who cares? It doesn't matter. And that's what Speak Up. That's what I try to do in the class. I try to make it a very comfortable environment so that, again, if people make mistakes, it's not a big deal. We learn new vocabulary. We try to practice in conversation using the vocabulary. And I think that that's also part of the exercise in the course when I do that and we look at new words. Because some people might know the word, others don't. And it's really just as people get a little more comfortable, maybe using a brand new word, when they learn another new word, I think then they'll try to use it again, whether they're speaking with me in class or just in another conversation in general. So I really think that would be more related to your confidence in feeling like you can do this. Let's see. Mikhail says, Wes, can you spell the word instead of beard, please? I couldn't get it. So the word we were talking about before was stubble. Just the short facial hair. I'm going to write the definition too. When someone is too lazy to shave. All right, that's my definition, even though that's not the real definition. Some people like stubble. I think they try to have it. Usually, I don't care one way or another, but yes, I'm not a big fan of shaving every day. Miguel says, try to cite Youglish. I don't know if that was Sami asked about improving pronunciation. Yes, there are a lot of different videos out there. I don't know, Miguel, if you were answering that question. They're asking, how do I improve my pronunciation? Youglish, yes, actually I saw you tag that person. Yes, Youglish is a great site where what it does is that you just put the keywords in there and it searches YouTube for all these videos using those words and phrases, and you can listen to it, find it, I think, in the American accent, UK, British accent, as well as Australian. And that's a site that I reference when I talk about shadowing. If you want to practice speaking, practice your pronunciation, not just pronunciation, but your intonation, your emphasis, because you're trying to say things in the exact same way. It's like if you were just going to shadow me just then, you would say it with that emphasis on exact. You're trying to say it in the exact same way. That is something else we practice in the course, and we work on. I have a new shadowing video lesson. So Maria Teresa, you'll get to see that lesson. And I've also put up an audio resource on the Speak Up. So as I keep running the Speak Up course and I keep adding new stuff to it, more video lessons, I'm starting to add these audio lessons in which you're basically like listening to me. I'll say some sentences, some phrases, a paragraph, and it's kind of like sometimes listen, repeat, other times I'm asking you to shadow. And typically we're focused on something specific, maybe related to connected speech, like reductions. So again, like some of the stuff we do in the course is really just trying to help you practice and work on your pronunciation on your own so you can speak naturally and clearly. I keep reiterating all of that because it's part of it's part of our slogan right there, naturally and clearly. And for those of you who have been, I'm sure, following me for a while, I'm sure you've seen me teach lessons in that shirt. I really need to get a new wardrobe. It's something I am in desperate need of. Let's see. So we have Mr. Corleone says, suggest some vocabulary, some books with simple vocabulary. I always say read at your level. So simple books, it really depends. I would go easier. There's a site called Breaking News English. And the reason why I'm talking about that site is because it allows you to choose like a level. It's a current event article, and they'll give you like some, not all of the articles, but like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And the level 5 article is much longer. But it really, that at the beginning level, it uses simple language and you can kind of work your way up from there. But as far as books, I mean, you have shorter books like The Little Prince. You could use, I read My Little Girl, like Dr. Seuss. Those are actually entertaining books. But it's harder to find, I think, books that might be more interesting to you, especially as an adult, if you're looking for very simple books, because a lot of them are geared toward children. But I think it's important, find something at your level. Siwasu says, how can I improve my grammar? This is another example where I think reading is something that's going to help you improve your grammar and develop it, because you're going to see the grammar being used correctly. Otherwise, I think there are so many grammar books out there. If you can find something that you want to specifically work on, whether it's articles or prepositions or the verb tenses. And I think just, again, the more you practice, the more you keep doing it, and then you keep getting that practice, which is why I'm talking about speaking fluency, because the two ways that you can practice and actually produce the language would be speaking and writing. And if you can do that and get that practice, that's just going to reinforce what you've already learned. So that's really the main thing of like trying to talk about speaking. Let's see. Adil, I'd like to study English. I love it. Awesome. Vivek says, why don't we organize a speaking class on Zoom? Well, that's what Speak Up is. All of the classes with Speak Up, they are on Zoom. And I'll send you the link. So yes, we do hold those classes through Zoom. Let's see. Yesy asks, how can, Saita says, you're the best. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're the best. How about that? Yes, he says, how can we improve intonation? That's when I think I mentioned shadowing, because the goal of shadowing is not just, listen to me say the sentence and repeat, I have a bottle. Shadowing would be like you're trying to say it in the exact same way, using the intonation and emphasis. So if I were to say like, I have a bottle, all right, and then you have that rising intonation at the end, which would make it a question, that's like what you're practicing. It's like a question statement. I have a bottle? Like I'm a little confused about it. But that's just as an example as to how shadowing can be beneficial, because you're having to use the intonation, the emphasis. That's the goal of shadowing. Let's see. Maria Teresa, I can truly say it. Thank you, Maria Teresa, for sharing your experience and talking about it. I appreciate it. Let's see. Stella says, we're back to stubble. Does stubble have other meanings, or just talking about beard? No, as far as I know, stubble is just the short facial hair. I can't think of another meaning that it has off the top of my head. So yeah. Let's see. Divya says, I'm new here. Welcome. Always great to hear from new people. And guys, if you're new, let me know. Tell me your name, where you're from, or even, again, if you're watching this later, write it in the comments. I do read the comments. Some people Those of you who have been following the channel and you write comments, I try to respond to as many of them as I can. Let's see. How's Charles Dickens' Great Expectations? Like, how is that for reading? That really depends again on your level as well as your interest. Like if it's something that topic interests you, that type of writing, I would say that's definitely more advanced. But hey, Lolly says practice, practice, practice. The only way. Absolutely, like they say, there's that expression: practice makes perfect. It's true. The best way to improve your skills and really fine tune them: practice, speaking, writing. That's the best way to do it. Vivek says, are there demo classes available? So the one thing I'll come back and say about this, because a lot of people have asked about, like, how does it work? Can you do a free trial class? Because I do this through Teachable. So let me just explain. You would sign up through this platform called Teachable, and that's kind of where you would find like the lesson PDFs, the weekly video lessons. I will send you the Zoom link via email, and then each week you would just click on that link and then you'd enter the classroom. But Teachable is where you would find the instructional, like the videos, the lesson PDF, the resource guides, all of that stuff. I'm not able to run like a trial class using Teachable, but what I've told people before, anybody, is that if you, because I think people might be unsure of like, this class is for intermediate to advanced speakers. And I've had people ask like, oh, I don't know what level I am. And of course, like I said at the beginning, I want everybody to feel comfortable. That is like one of the most important things to me, that everybody feels comfortable in class so that they're not afraid to just say what's on their mind and they can enjoy it and have fun and just have a natural conversation. What I've told people is that you sign up, you pay for the course, give it a try. If, because there's a 14-day money-back guarantee, if after like a week or 2 weeks that you're like, look, this is not for me, it's too advanced, or like this is not what I thought it was, you can send me an email, I'll refund the money. That's the only way I can work it right now. If I were like some big fancy company, then, and I had the option of doing some system with a free trial class, I totally would. But it's just me. I'm kind of a one-man show with all of this. But yeah, if you're kind of on the fence, which is a good phrase, if somebody's on the fence, it means that they're unsure of what to do. So if you're unsure of what to do with Speak Up, if you're interested and you're available at that class time and you want to give it a try, I'd say, yeah, sign up. And if after like, yeah, the first week you're like, look, this doesn't work for me, just let me know, and I can refund the money. Let's see. I say, is anybody else should I stop talking? Eve says, should I stop talking with my non-English friends to speed up my fluency? Honestly, I don't know your situation. I'm guessing maybe I think, again, what I would say is the more exposure you get to the language, the better. So if you're constantly exposed to English among your friend group, at home, if you're watching TV or listening to music, or you're watching lessons like this and you're constantly getting English, 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 that's the best thing. I don't know if I would like say, like recommend to stop like talking to a friend because of that. I don't, again, everybody has different goals. I think it's great to just, I don't know, just have friends no matter what language. But I assume that you're saying that you have some friends that you want to speak English, but maybe you're speaking your native language. I'd say try to get as much exposure to English as you can, but I'm not going to tell you to don't be friends with that person or anything like that. Lydia says, yes, I always respond. It makes us feel very special. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I always, I make a point to really get into those comments to feel, so I kind of understand like what you guys are saying, what your needs are, what you guys want, because that helps me for the future. Let's see. Raul says, I enjoy your lessons. Thank you, Raul. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Angie. Excellent. A lot of it. So, so living on it says how many speaking sessions a week? It's a 10-week course. Lessons are once a week. So it's not intensive in the way like there's 5 classes each week. It's once a week for 10 weeks. And I put a lot of the other resources on Teachable, like those pronunciation video lessons, those resource guides. I'm starting to create like some audio practice things so that, again, during those other days, if you're looking for something to practice, get exposure to the language, then you can keep doing that. Who else says summer approaching? How's the weather where you live? The weather here in Budapest today is a really nice day. It's about 22 degrees outside, sunny. So I think it's heating up quickly, and I think summer will be here before we know it. Somebody asked about COVID here. Things, I think Hungary just went through like I think their big peak about a month ago. So things are improving here as far as the COVID cases and the hospitalizations. And they are continuing to vaccinate. And as they're doing this, I think today some other businesses were able to open up. So things are improving, albeit slowly, is what I'd say about that. See about just talking to more with different people. That's a good way. Absolutely. Like I said, the more exposure you get to the language is the best thing. And whether it's exposure like you're listening to me, I'm from the United States, or even if you're listening to somebody else from another country speak English and you're hearing them speak, all of it's useful, all of it's great, and that's what I would recommend. You've said, where's a link for the class? There is a link in the description. I'll throw one here in the chat. The other thing, because I've been talking a little bit about the course, I want to make sure that you guys hear this part. If you are, if you're interested, you can use the code SPEAK10 to get a 10% discount. So the cost of the course is $179 for the 10 weeks, which includes the 10-week lessons with me, the lesson PDFs, the lesson preview videos, the weekly pronunciation videos, the resource guides, and use that voucher code. You can get 10%. So if you go to the page and go to the bottom, you'll see the class times. So hopefully that'll help. Again, if you guys are joining, I know people are probably coming and going. I'm trying to take your questions on speaking fluency, improving your speaking fluency, and everything's kind of on the table because so much is related to speaking, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. So I'm kind of answering as many questions as I can. Mavi says, for IELTS speaking, can you give any advice? Is it the same as normal speaking? I would say no. And the only thing I'd say about the IELTS, I mentioned those tests before. It's really trying to gauge about, the idea is that the test is meant to determine whether somebody can succeed in a university environment. And that's why universities require universities in the US, many of them would require international students to take either the IELTS or the TOEFL to see their level, because that's supposed to determine whether they can succeed, keep saying that, at university. So it is different than just like normal conversational stuff. What I would say for the IELTS or any of those tests, and I hate saying this, but is like study to the test. Learn the structure and how the test is going to be laid out so that you feel more comfortable, you feel a little more confident that you're ready for it. Because the way the speaking is set up on an IELTS, it's pretty specific. You're going to sit with somebody. I don't know how it is nowadays. They may ask you some general questions that are more just conversational, like tell me about your family, what do you like to do in your free time? And then they'll start moving into some more difficult questions that would be more like you're giving a presentation, or it's like, what are some things you think that we can make? What are some changes we can make today in order to address the problems of climate change? Something like that. And in that case, you would kind of talk about it and then present your points. And those are the things they're listening for. So it's not necessarily like, oh, it's just going to be like normal conversation. I just say study for the test and prepare yourself. There are, again, questions that are just rather normal, though. Oleg says, I learned songs through lyrics and try to sing. It helps very much. Awesome. If that helps you, perfect. I think again, singing, it's another thing. You're practicing like shadowing, that intonation, that emphasis. Let's see. It says, see, it asks, am I done with the vaccination? No, I have not gotten the vaccination just yet. Because I'm a foreigner here in Hungary, they just opened it up to foreigners living. Actually, I think my wife was saying like, no, not yet. The site is not up, so yes, I have not had access to it. Yes, please play for India. Yes, I know. India is definitely in my thoughts. It's a lot of it's a very difficult situation going on there now. Jane says, can you make more live videos? Yes, I mean, typically every Tuesday there's a new video lesson on the channel, and then Saturdays, this is the time that I try to do live interactive lessons with all of you. Sometimes I'll have a grammar lesson. Other times it'll be like a vocabulary quiz, or we'll talk about idioms. But this is a general Q&A. Get to talk and interact with you guys directly. And if anything, this is good. I hope for your listening. You're getting some listening practice. Let's see. Sleeper, yes, we need to use get used to different accents. Absolutely. I always say that if, for example, you're traveling, chances are if you're from France and you travel to Thailand, you're probably going to be speaking to people in Thailand. English will likely be the common language. So it's useful to get exposure to other English accents, even from places that are learning English as a second language, which there's many countries out there now. La Pianista, hi from New York. Hello, hello. How are you? Zora, hi from Serbia. Hi. How is Raymond Murphy's books? I'm not too familiar with him. I might be familiar with some of the books, but I'm not too familiar with him as an author. Have you been practicing your Spanish? La verdad es que no he hablado español hace, no sé, el último tiempo es cuando yo estaba grabando un video por mi canal y estaba hablando español en el video, pero aparte de eso, no. No, I need to. I want to. I'm trying to work on more Romanian at this point. That's like the language, but yeah, I need to. I need to keep working on my Spanish, and it's difficult because I've lived in a couple of different Spanish-speaking countries. So at different times, somebody had mentioned at the beginning. I think Hiwa said like it feels like good. Sometimes he feels he's fluent, and then other times it feels it sucks. And I feel like I can relate to that. I think after living in a country and like I constantly surrounded by the language, I feel a lot more confident that I'm learning a lot. I'm building my vocabulary, my grammar is getting a little better, my pronunciation. And then when you're taken out of that environment, it starts to diminish little by little if you don't continuously brush up on it and use those skills, which I have not been doing. I have not been as good as doing that as I should be. Sami asked, where can I get further details about the course? Sorry, just kind of bombarding you guys with links. I'll throw another link. There's a link in the description. I'm going to throw one in the chat right there. Boom. You can click on that link. It'll take you to the course page. And as you go to the bottom of that page, they list the class times. So classes are on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays right now. And I'm going to continuously keep doing the course, and I'll offer different times. You asked, why hasn't your wife showed up all this while? Yes, that's something we're kind of working on. I think she's going to kind of start getting back into the channel and doing some other videos with me. It's been, like I said, it's been a tough year. I think, like even this last year with everything going on, tough year for all of us. So I think in many ways trying to get back to normal. I know you have said thank you. I really appreciate that. Muchas gracias. Jelena, I saw your first video with words to guess. They were fan. Oh, glad you enjoyed that lesson. Yeah, some of the like our older, and maybe I'll start doing some of them again. Some of our older videos were a lot more like I'd say interactive in a way, like I'm talking to you right now and I'm expecting you to say something. But those are like practice video lessons. And those are actually lessons because, again, with the speaking course, lessons are once a week. And what I want to do is kind of keep adding more and more video lessons and actually doing more practice video lessons like that. Probably like one of the earlier ones you saw where I describe something and you guess the name, and then I ask you to describe a word to me, and just really kind of getting you thinking about how you would do that. And it's really kind of exercising your vocabulary muscles because you're trying to think about words that you've already learned and ways that you can talk about this. Let's see. Jax, thanks for the backup. Thanks for. All right. No, you're welcome. Yeah. Thank you guys. So I asked, will you speak Portuguese? I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Besides obrigado, I don't really know much Portuguese. I would love to learn it. I think there's many languages that I'd like to, that are on the list, that are on my bucket list right now. Is it mandatory to live in an English-speaking country? Lala asks, is it mandatory to live in an English-speaking country to be fluent in English? I'd say absolutely not. And the reason for that, I told you, I think, in my opinion, one of the best things, the best things that you can do for improving your language skills is just getting exposure. And nowadays with the internet, you can easily, I think many people can easily get exposure in like their home country, with listening, with reading, with writing. Like even right now, you guys are listening to me. You are getting exposure to English. You're learning new words like the word stubble. You just keep bringing that word back up. And yeah, so I definitely think it's possible nowadays. I think the one challenge that I get hear from many people would be when they want to practice like speaking, because you guys can easily write to me in the comments. You guys are writing in the chat right now. You're practicing your writing skills. But I understand when it comes to speaking that it can be a little more difficult if you're not in an English speaking country, but not impossible. I think because chances are, whatever town or city you live in, you're probably not the only person who wants to practice and improve their English. And maybe there is a group out there that you can join and practice with others, or maybe you can even form your own group. Or of course, there are online classes that you can take, like mine I've been talking about throughout this lesson. Speak Up again, it's a way you can learn online, practice your speaking. That's what it's all about. Rami asks, do you know any Arabic words? I know like things like inshallah, stuff like that. And there was another one that I forget what it is, but I had some students teach me in Arabic because I had some other students. They were from a couple of like brothers from like Saudi Arabia, and they wouldn't sometimes do their work or something, or like in class. And I had the other students teach me the expression like, guys, you're killing me. You're killing me. And they taught me how to say that in Arabic, but I forgot. I haven't used it in such a long time. So Eloisa says your videos are so well prepared. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Eloisa. Thank you. Miguel says, question, when you were speaking here on the video class, use normal rhythm or a bit slower? The way I'm speaking right now, I think this is kind of my normal speech. Sometimes I think now when I get in front of a video, a camera, maybe I tend to speak slightly slower. But at this point, after so many years of teaching, the speed of my speech has naturally slowed down. And sometimes when I go back to the US and I talk to friends, they may even say something to me. They're like, why are you speaking so slow? So it really, again, it just depends on the individual. But I think I hope that it helps. Again, I hope it makes it easier for people to understand everything that I'm saying, because that's the most important thing, that your comprehension, that you can understand, listen at your level. That's another thing I would always say. Sorry, how do I pronounce the words? Okay, Jacques asked between bathroom and bedroom. So that's a minimal pair between the bathroom, that's a voiceless TH sound, and bedroom. Bedroom, that voice sound. Let's see. So that inshallah means if God will. Yes, awesome. You guys are teaching me a little bit. Uh, let's see. It says, how can we automate our grammar for speaking? A lot of readings from Azerbaijan. I don't know. You mean like in terms of using grammar when speaking? I think I don't know if that's kind of what your question is. I think that's something that goes overlooked because people study grammar mostly in books and they don't really take it then into a speaking component. And sometimes I would always do that when I was teaching grammar, like we're learning new grammar. Now let's use it in conversation. And let's use a situation in which we're going to use some of the grammar. So I think that if that's kind of what you were asking for, how do I learn the grammar and then utilize it when speaking? Again, practice would be the best way to do it. Online classes, find a classroom that that they're using that method, because I think overwhelmingly people tend to just study grammar out of a book and even just practice grammar in a book. And even though that is related, I still think it helps. Anything helps, but I think it's useful not just to learn something like grammar and then only practice it with writing. It's useful to practice with speaking as well. All right. So Angela asks, how do you pronounce those words? So I'll just say those real quickly. Baked, dressed, blessed. So those ed endings all have that t sound because the consonant before is voiceless. Baked, dressed, blessed. And I was actually emphasizing it a little too much there, just so you guys could hear it. All right, so again, there's still a little time left. This is the last call, though. If you're interested in signing up in my speaking course called Speak Up, the enrollment ends tomorrow. So tomorrow's it, because then we start classes this next week on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. So you have less than 48 hours if you're interested. There's a link in the description. I'm going to throw the link again in the chat one more time in case some of you just recently joined. And remember, you can use that voucher code SPEAK10 to get a 10% discount. If you have any questions about the course, once this video gets posted, write them in the comments. If I haven't already answered them, send me an email at info@interactiveenglishvideos.com. Let me see. Email me at info@interactiveenglishvideos.com. Okay, you can. That's my email. If you have a question about the course, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Again, it's a 10-week course. It's all about, like the poster says, trying to help you speak confidently, clearly, naturally. Lessons are each week 1 hour long with me. It's a small group class, and we talk about a variety of topics in order to get just a lot of different practice to help you feel a little more confident speaking about a variety of topics. We'll do some vocabulary, idioms, expressions. There are different speaking activities, weekly pronunciation video lessons. Try to build it out as much as I can. And it is for intermediate to advanced speakers. That's the last thing I will say about it. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope that you join me next week for another live lesson. And I don't know. I have to figure out what we're going to do. But enjoy the weekend. Thank you guys so much. Sleepwalker, Lolly, always great to see you. Adair, Jane, Jane asked what time. Usually I go live Saturdays around 3:30 p.m. Central European time is kind of around when it is. If you go to the channel homepage, typically you'd see some notification, and then you could ask to get notified once the live lesson begins. Thank you guys. Angela, Kritika, Kareem, Ario has how to speak confidently. Again, I think the more practice you get speaking, the more comfortable you're going to feel talking about a variety of different things, and you're just going to feel more confident in general. And as you continue practicing while doing those other things, building vocabulary, learning new grammar, it's just going to reinforce your level of confidence that you're saying things correctly. But again, also I'd say it's very important too, like just not to worry about making mistakes. That's very important because you don't want to lose confidence when you enter a conversation. Great to see you. Vishnu Vashdahini, sorry if I mispronounced names, Cecilia, Cassia, Ario, Michelle Leonardo, La Pianista, Luisa, Giovanni, trying to give it, Iwa, good to see you, Philippe, trying to give as many shout outs as I can at the very end, but I am going to try to go outside right now and maybe go for a walk with the family. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time.